It's just about to be announced. I'm making the switch. I'm going through a transformation.
A transition period in your life.
That's deeper than
what you're willing to go, but we're going all the way in.
Yep, droid life.
So why did you use an Android
iPhone
for all this time? Because I could tell you this, the iPhone, the only reason I switched, I had a buddy that was coming out with an app and I wanted to support it. I know it's easier to first get an app out on Apple on an iPhone. That's why I switched. I actually don't think an iPhone's inherently superior. I do think because of these apps, there are certain apps like some that I use for tracking and so forth that once again, Apple gets the exclusive first release. So it takes a while before it's released to Android.
I thought it was just a coding thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it actually is.
Yeah, I think it's a coding thing. So most people go, obviously the majority of the market's in iPhone, and then the coding is totally separate. So it would be dumb to start a business on Samsung. So all apps, majority of our apps start on iPhone coding first. And then they basically have to rebuild the entire app for Samsung. That's why they do a second.
You know, I just don't hate I just don't like the hipster culture of Apple. And what I mean is that cult of personality that I talked about before, where people inherently, if you're to ask them to try and explain why it's better, but then if you're to try and take a look at the UX, like the way it's designed, I think people have bought into the hype more than to maybe the utility of it.
And they haven't tried a Samsung.
What's that?
They haven't tried a Droid. They just talk shit on droids.
Yeah. Because I can tell you that, like, I actually used Droids all my life until switching over to this one iPhone that I bought. I personally don't feel, oh my God, it's inherently superior. I do think they do some very tribe-like things where with the iMessage, where you have a blue message as opposed to those that don't have an iPhone, then it's a green message. So, well,
I get what it means, but who the fuck?
Yeah, well, people, and then if you message someone, like when I used to have an Android, they'd be like, oh, it's a green message. Ew, you don't have an iPhone? I'm like, man, tell me that listen, you stuck-up motherfucker.
But what's the difference? My message shows up the goddamn same.
It was again. Well, that's an inclusion versus exclusion, and when I say there's a lot of hype behind Apple in general, I mean it's all the same basic shit. I remember when they were releasing, I forget what they're called. Basically, like an iMac, like it was a home computer, but it was all contained within the monitor itself.
You're talking like their first computer. Like their Starship.
Not the 80s one, bro. I'm talking the one
90s, late 90s.
Yeah, the colored one. You know what I'm talking about.
I think that was their flagship deal. That's like what put them on the map.
They were around before then. I probably took it to the next level. I don't know their company history, so I don't.
So the little bit that I know about their company history is that's like, not that it, of course they're around. Nike was around too, but the Jordan 1 put them in a new league. Yeah. This put them in their new league for sure. Because it has a monitor and the computer in one. It was one down price. You don't have to do this and then go buy Windows and then go buy Excel and then go buy all these things. It's just fucking on the computer, plug and play type deal.
I actually have a big problem with the monopoly though, because when it comes to simple things like their music, they want you to go through iTunes. If you want to, for a content creator as an example, if you want to put some music on your Instagram video and you want to edit it on your iPhone itself, it actually becomes a problem because you need to have any music you add has to be added only from the iTunes music store. So if you had, let's say Spotify and you downloaded a song, or let's say you had Google Play, obviously you can't use that. But even from the internet, if you wanted an MP3, so if you're trying to transfer an MP3 file from your computer to your iPhone and then to include it into video, you can't. So the cross functionality of it is almost non-existent. And so they make these practices that help them monopolize their power. And and as a result of them buying up other different things, they become kind of the only viable way of doing things. And so even if you want to buy these days, my brother being an example where he doesn't use a smartphone because he doesn't need it, he doesn't believe in it.
He's got a dumb phone.
And so he just has an MP3 player when he goes to the gym. But now to even buy albums, if you take a look, talking about the monopoly of a place like Apple, if you take a look at a lot of different albums, if you try and buy them from a place outside of iTunes, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, most people just stream.
Harder.
Yeah, you know? But most people do stream. I think a little bit for sure is the monopoly with how they make things difficult, but also things are just
purposely difficult.
Well, they're just progressing a different way too, technology-wise. Like where most people stream. Same with video, right? Like it's really hard to buy a DVD nowadays, just because it's hard to buy a DVD because they're streaming Netflix and they're streaming Hulu and whatever else.
So it was something that was available before, but then there's.
But that's what I'm saying. The advance is going towards streaming, not downloading albums.
And then I guess a question to follow up with that. So that's one example, but one that I honestly can't see inherently any benefit to is with the start of the iPhone 7. I think the one that I have, where the adapter now there's no audio jack. Where now you need to have the cable to plug in. Yeah. So you can't charge while listening. Well, guess what? A lot of times I want to charge my phone because the battery life on an iPhone, much like any other smartphone, isn't great.
Yeah, what I hear from Mac people is that they're
I hear a lot of excuses, bro. In my opinion,
they're planning for the future, which I do get, right? But because I complain about Bluetooth, like I have the newest Bluetooth everything, like from good companies, Sony, Bose, like expensive shit, and it still only has like a 10-foot range. Sometimes it won't connect, and that's laptop, which is a Mac for me, or my phone. Like Bluetooth technology isn't that great yet. It's good, but it's not great. It sometimes it'll cut out, and so they're planning obviously for a perfect Bluetooth world, and they're planning for a wireless charge, and they're planning for every company ever to use the same cord, which they do. Besides Mac, everybody used mini USB or mini USB-C now, and so if everyone would just use the same damn cord, I think that would be the first. That would be the only monopoly I'd be behind. Like, let's just charge everything on the planet with a mini USB-C.
Yeah,
like we use the same outlet for everything else, and I know country to country is different, but why can't we all just agree? Every company just sign a fucking contract.
As opposed to Apple, you mean where they have a different?
Everyone has a different cord. Everyone has a different cord to charge and different cord for music.
See, but then again, that's they are doing things that make it prohibitive for cross functionality because they want you to buy their own.
That's for sure. I think part of it, and I think it was Connor actually. Even though we rag on him in every episode, I think it was him that said he did read articles and hear from them that they're trying to plan for the future, right? Where there is no cord needed because there's you lay it on a pad and it charges whatever. Eventually, you're going to be able to your phone will charge in your pocket because you'll have a sensor like Wi-Fi will charge it somehow. You know, like that's not that far away. So I get that they're planning for that, but the same thing, their laptops don't have USB in them anymore. They only have a charge, and then you have to get an adapter, and you have to get this, and you get that, and it's just dog shit. Because then the Bluetooth, whatever you're using, Bluetooth mouse or Bluetooth wireless headphones, like the battery life on them isn't that long.
No,
that's one thing I have for phones is why does battery life suck? Why does battery life suck? We're in 2018, and my phone lasts like 8 hours.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand when it comes to iPhones in general. For anyone to clearly explain how there is a distinct competitive advantage of an iPhone versus another smartphone, and I just don't see it. And that's for me using all types of different smartphones over time.
And you don't use Mac computers?
No, and I've seen them and I've worked with them. But if you take a look at the raw processing power of a MacBook compared to, let's say, a PC, the PC will win hands down for the price that you're paying. So you're paying a premium because, what do they say? A MacBook doesn't break down, it doesn't this, it doesn't that. I think there's a lot of alternatives that have come about in the last several years that make it quite hard to argue that a MacBook is, once again, inherently superior. I think they do certain things. So, for instance, if you want a video edit, that's why a lot of YouTubers use it. Final Cut's kind of one of the go-to standards, so everyone kind of uses MacBook, but it doesn't mean that it's better or it's so much better. And a good example of that is the iPhone. I actually had to return my first iPhone that I got, and then I got another iPhone 7 because there's some problems with it where I was told all the time, like, you get an Apple product, you don't got to worry about it. Well, I got Apple Care, so I paid more for the warranty, and so I was able to replace it. But my first iPhone actually had a problem, so I had to bring it back in. So my personal as a consumer, my first experience with an iPhone wasn't positive. Where I had a OnePlus One before, shout out, which is a different brand. The only reason I stopped using the OnePlus One is because I was out late one night, drunk, and I actually dropped it. I didn't have a case, dropped it flat on its face, and the cost of replacing that, I think I'm blanking on how much I paid for it because I buy things outright. I don't do contracts. I think the OnePlus One was like $350. I'm making up numbers here.
That seems so cheap.
But to replace it, it may have been more than that. Let's say $450. I honestly forget. That seems
cheap too.
Oh, it's way cheap. No, there are a lot of alternatives. If you look at
my Samsung was like $800.
Yeah. What I was going to say is I forget the YouTuber's name. He recently did actually an interview with Elon Musk. I think it's Marcus Brownlee. Yeah, where he does different reviews. So I'll check them out because obviously I don't want to take the time, hours to research these things. That's why we go to trusted sources. And he does seem like someone who is reputable and takes the time to review them. He actually was the one that hit me to the original OnePlus One, where it was a lot cheaper. It does all the same things. The camera was actually quite good. I just didn't buy a protective case. And because it's more rare, when it does break, to replace the screen would be, I think it was like $250. So I'm like, all right, well, let me move on. And again, at that time, my buddy was coming out with that app.
Yeah.
But my personal experience, and from having people that have used MacBooks, I've seen them all my life. And my brother's best friend, he was using that colorful iMac, you know, the one that had the all-in-one where it's a monitor and a computer at the same time. I wasn't wowed by it. In fact, when he bought that iMac, he couldn't play any of the video games that we wanted to play.
But that was the 90s
and that's
too.
little, that's a little thing. But just in general, it's never wowed me. And it does surprise me how you could be so for consumer culture, where you're the perfect consumer, where you buy into like the hype. To me, it's very cult-like. And anytime I feel something that's cult-like, the hair stands up on the back of my neck.
But yeah, you have an iPhone.
Yeah. Well, I am honestly considering switching because it's going to be, it's not one of those things I'm dead set on.
Yeah, I'm not dead set on anything. Like I like what I like, and I like it regardless of whoever else likes it or doesn't like it. I do like MacBooks. I've only had 2 laptop since senior year of high school, and they've lasted me pretty good. So I had one for like 6 years, and it did start to get real slow. But I had no issues within that. I just bought another one, Mac Air or whatever the fuck I use, and that's fine too. And I don't do anything real, right? I do research, like internet stuff, emails, basic stuff. But that's always been good. I'm going iPhone because another coding deal. Like something happens when you upload a picture or video from a Droid to Instagram, it looks whack. And then because of the kind of the culty deal, also to text videos or text any files. If me and Connor are shooting content or something, or me and anybody, and you're
airdrop.
You can't airdrop, and even a text shows up fuzzy. You lose a bunch of quality, which is just so annoying.
But it's one of those things. I think actually the Samsung Galaxy, it has a feature where you can literally just tap and it transfers, as opposed to the airdrop that doesn't work.
Galaxy.
But you need another Galaxy. So the biggest advantage, and that's why I do describe it as cult-like, is the buying power of a larger consumer base is a differential advantage. That is something they have. So because I'm making up, in America, they have 100 million users. Well, 100 million Apple users versus 20 million Samsung. I'm just making up random numbers. A lot of their functionality, the benefit comes in having larger numbers. So now everyone airdrops, right?
Yeah.
Versus, you have a Samsung, you need to find someone else that has a Samsung. I had a OnePlus